While I was playing through Elden Ring again, a thought popped into my head. Can you beat the game without Melina? To spoil the answer, yes, but not without glitches. There's already a few videos on YouTube of people doing this, so I won't be doing a detailed step-by-step guide here. In this video, we're going to be looking at how Melina is impacted by various sequence breaks, which will include completing the game without her, as well as a few other events. Let's begin. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to be cheating my way through this run, but everything in this first part of the video is possible to perform legitimately. So how far into the game can you get without Melina, without using glitches? The first step the game gives us is to defeat 2 shard bearers, so we can access Leyndell. This isn't much of a problem, as Godric, Rennala, Radahn, and Rykard are all accessible right off the start. Godric and Rennala will be the easiest ones to get to, but any of them will do, so pick your favorites and take them out. Next we need to get to the Altus Plateau. There are multiple ways to get there, but on this run, I opted to go through the Ravine Cave. Now at the plateau, take out the Draconic Tree Sentinel to gain access to Leyndell. Is what I would like to say, but regardless of how many Great Runes you have, the barrier for entering Leyndell will remain up with a message saying you need more until you can access the Round Table Hold. So unfortunately, this is as far as you can get without using glitches. Kind of a shame in my opinion. I genuinely think the game should have been designed to be completable without Melina, considering you can reject her offer. It would have been cool if this was a built-in challenge run, like the illusory ring runs in Dark Souls 2. But I digress. We can continue the run using glitches. To continue, we'll want to head to the Tower of Return in the Weeping Peninsula, and get ourselves caught in the Transporter Trap. We'll be transported inside of Leyndell, but to an area where we can't do much other than grab a Site of Grace. But that's where the good old Force Quit Wrong Warp comes into play. If we warp somewhere and force close the game in the last few frames of the loading screen, you'll end up at the default point of whatever location you were just at. In this case, it happens to be inside Leyndell, past the barrier. Now we can proceed to Golden Godfrey as normal, and follow up immediately by taking out Morgott. From there you'll need to touch the Thorns, then head over to the Grace where normally Melina would rejoin us, as the Fog Gate remains in place until you do. Melina doesn't show up, however, since we never spoke with her, but the Fog Gate disappears anyway. Our next destination is the Forbidden Lands, but a barrier stating it's sealed by Morgott is still in our way, even though he's dead. The trigger for it disappearing is actually speaking to Melina after beating Morgott, so it's not really sealed by Morgott at all, it's actually sealed by Melina. Fortunately for us, we can bypass the barrier by precisely jumping off the base of this pillar onto the top of the nearby bush, and then immediately jumping again to end up on this ledge. From there, you can walk around and jump over the railing to get to the other side of the barrier. You can then proceed through the Forbidden Lands as normal, all the way to the Grand Lift of Rold. Melina didn't give us the medallion to use the lift, but we have a far more powerful tool for traveling, the Force Quit Wrong Warp. Using it here will place us at the top of the lift, eliminating the need for the medallion entirely. From there, there's nothing stopping you from going all the way to the Fire Giant and taking him out. After that, it's Erd Tree burning time, but we don't have any Melinas to burn. But of course, there's another way to set it on fire, the Frenzied Flame. Return to Leyndell, head into the sewer, make your way to Mohg, and take him out. You can then continue towards the Three Fingers by rolling into the illusory wall. That's where we'll run into another problem though, as another barrier claiming it's sealed by Morgott is there, which in reality is actually blocked by Melina. Since both paths to burning the Erd Tree are blocked by Melina, we'll need to once again glitch our way forward. Head to the 4 Belfries, grab the imbued Swordstone key, and take the portal to Farum Azula. You can probably guess the next step, Force Quit Wrong Warp our way to the main area. So a fun fact is that everything we did previously is not actually required to beat the game. I wanted to show how you can access areas without her, and what happens during events she's supposed to appear in. But if you're just looking to complete the game without her, you can skip straight to this step. From there, the rest of the game plays out as normal. Beat the Godskin duo and Malekith to Ashify Leyndell, then beat Gideon, Godfrey, Radagon, and the Elden Beast to complete the game. Interestingly, after completing the game, you end up at the Round Table Hold in its burning state, so without Melina, you just need to finish the game to get there. If we head outside, we'll see that it's not just the Round Table Hold that's burning, the Erd Tree is as well, even though we never set it on fire. If we finally rest at the Gatefront site of Grace, Melina's cutscene will play as usual, and even though we already became Elden Lord, she'll offer to help us become Elden Lord anyway. If we accept her offer, then rest at a site of Grace, she'll offer to take you to the Round Table Hold. If you choose to go there though, nothing actually happens. You just hold her hand for a bit. I guess in this timeline, she can't actually take you to the Round Table Hold, and was just feeling lonely or something. I assume this is a side effect of having already been there, but considering how bad we sequence broke the game, something else could be the cause too. At the next site of Grace we rest at, we'll get the dialogue you usually get after beating Morgott, because we already beat him. Somewhat interestingly, this confirms that this dialogue is just tied to resting at a site of Grace after beating Morgott, and not to the site of Grace that appears after the fight specifically. There's one more thing to check on this main playthrough before we move on. Can we sacrifice Melina to burn the already burning Erd Tree? As it turns out, yes, you totally can. Thanks to the power of sequence breaking, we can burn Melina for absolutely no reason other than wanting to see what happens. The cutscene looks a bit different than normal with the Erd Tree already burning away, but other than that, it plays out as normal. Next, I wanted to explore something that isn't normally possible, even using glitches. What happens if you inherit the Frenzied Flame before speaking to Melina? The only known way to do this currently is by using external tools, but in case a legitimate way is ever found, here are my results. Resting at the Gatefront site triggers her cutscene as normal, and she'll still make her offer to you. If you accept, like normal, you'll get Torrent and the ability to level up. However, she immediately vanishes after her dialogue ends. The next time you rest at a site, you'll get the normal Frenzied Flame dialogue, where she then leaves forever. I was still curious if there was any way to have her stay with you after inheriting the Frenzied Flame, so I tested a couple other things as well. The next thing I tested is what happens if you inherit the flame after she leaves you in Leyndell, before she rejoins you after beating Morgott. Things were looking promising at first, with her being available to summon for the fight. However, when resting at the site post-fight, the Frenzied Flame dialogue plays as normal, and she leaves. If you rest at a different site before fighting Morgott, she also appears and leaves, even though she's not supposed to be with you. So neither of those options went very well, but what if we inherit the Frenzied Flame, and then cure it before speaking to Melina? We won't be able to become the Lord of Chaos, but maybe we can keep both the Scars and Melina? First, we need to complete Millicent's questline, choosing to help her in the end to get the unalloyed gold needle. Next, you need to beat Melina, then reload the area to upgrade the needle to Miquella's needle using the big flower. First, we go inherit the Frenzied Flame, then we go to Placidusax's arena to cure it. Now, was it all worth it? We then go accept Melina's offer as usual, and she disappears after her dialogue ends. Not a good sign. Sure enough, the next time we rest at a site, we'll get the Frenzied Flame dialogue, even though we cured it. So she doesn't care if you have it currently, just that you ever had it. So there seems to be no way to keep Melina after interacting with the flame. For those curious, if you reject Melina's offer then inherit the flame, the option to speak with her at a site of Grace disappears, and she's gone forever. There's one final interaction between the flame and Melina I discovered, which I found pretty funny. If we inherit the flame and burn the Erd Tree before ever speaking to Melina, this is what happens when her cutscene ends.
I offer you an accord.
Yep, she just ceases to exist. I guess the game sets a flag for Melina to stop existing when the Erd Tree is burned, regardless of how it was burned. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I hope you found it entertaining, and I will see you guys in another video.